Where are you living? In a flat or a house?
I am living in a flat. I have been dreaming to buy a house now, but so far it is just a dream hasn't come true. Mainly because the house prices in China are soaring at an extremely fast speed, which is totally out of my price range.
Okay, first about the question, where are you living, in a flat or a house? Now, why this question is in the present continuous, I don't know. The question should be, where do you live, in a flat or a house? Now, I know a lot of people who prepare for the test use the word flat in their response. But not even the test uses the word flat. They always use the word apartment. So a better question might have been, where do you live, in an apartment or a house? And then if we look at her answer, she seems to have the same problem twice. So far, it is just a dream, hasn't come true. So we need the relative pronoun which. It is just a dream which hasn't come true. And in the second example, she does use which. But you need to think, what does your relative pronoun refer to? Because remember, relative pronouns always refer to a noun. So this which refers to the noun which precedes it. And the noun is speed. At an extremely fast speed, which is totally out of my price range. She's saying the speed is out of her price range. But that's not what she means. She means the prices are out of her price range, not the speed. So this relative pronoun refers to the wrong noun. Instead, she should have said, because the house prices in China are soaring at an extremely fast speed, which makes buying one completely impossible, or which puts houses completely out of my price range. Something like that.
Where do young guys usually live in China? In flats or houses?
Okay, again, remember in part one, your questions are never going to refer to a specific country. They're just going to say your country. And it's kind of weird of a question to be saying young guys, or actually the word guys, just the word guys. Because who does it refer to? Does it refer just to men, or do they include women in that? The question should be young people, not young guys.
The vast majority of young guys in China live in flats, but there are still some of them are terribly posh, which means they can afford those luxurious houses.
Okay, and here we have the same problem as before with relative pronouns. There are still some of them are terribly posh. So we're talking about people, so we need the relative pronoun who. Still some of them who are terribly posh. And then here, those luxurious houses. Who does, or what rather, what does the those refer to? Those luxurious houses. If you're going to be using the word those, you need to refer to something specific. So for example, those luxurious houses which now appear everywhere, or those luxurious houses on the outskirts of my city, or something like that.
What are the differences between flats and houses?
There are so many changes between flats and houses.
Well, she means differences, not changes, right?
For starters, as far as the definition is concerned, a building usually has more than one floor and is intended to be used by one family.
Now, when they ask you what the difference between A and B is, you don't need to start talking about dictionary definitions, because in the actual test, you don't have a dictionary to go look it up. But anyway, here she talks about a building. But what building is she talking about? Is she talking about a house? Is she talking about an apartment building? Because they're both buildings. And it's not clear. The question was apartment and house, not building. They're both buildings. An apartment building is a building. A house is a building. So which building are you talking about? And then this it refers to the building, but then we still don't know, are you talking about a house or are you talking about an apartment? Because apartment buildings have more than one floor, and there are houses that also have more than one floor. So which one is it?
It usually has a garden, a swimming pool, and a garage. A flat is a place for people to live that consists of a set of rooms that are part of a larger building. Another obvious difference is that the houses are normally much more expensive than flats, which also explains why most of the people are living in flats rather than houses today.
Okay, so she continued with her very detailed definition of houses and apartments. Let's just look at some grammar issues here. The houses, we're just talking about houses in general, so we don't need the specific or the definite article the here. So just houses are normally much more expensive. Just like here, there's no the before flats. And then here, why most of the people. Remember, there's a difference between most people and most of the people. If you talk about most people, you're talking about most people in general. If you're talking about most of the people, you're talking about a specific group of people. So here, we're just talking about people in general. So it should just be most people. And then the are living, I think I talked about this before. If you are talking about something that people indefinitely do or permanently do, we don't use the present continuous tense. So just people live in flats rather than houses today. We just need the simple present, not the present continuous.
What can you see from the windows of your flat?
My flat is on the 30th floor, so I can get a panoramic view of the whole community, the fountains, statues, trees, flowers and green grass, and when night falls, with all the lights on, the view is breathtaking.
The only issue is with the question, what can you see from the windows of your flat? Or what if you live in a house? So it should be, what can you see from the windows of your home, not flat.
Can you give me a simple introduction of the layout of your flat?
Well, my flat is a south-facing 30th floor unit which has a living room, 3 bedrooms, a dining room, a kitchen, and a utility room. The master bedroom has a bathtub and a dress room. The north-south layout and the balcony provide good natural light, ventilation, and a panoramic view of the community. My flat is furnished in a fancy style. European-style furniture, huge French doors, crystal chandeliers, fancy wallpaper, delicate paintings, and intoxicating flowers.
She talks here about how the master bedroom has a bathtub and a dress room. I don't know what a dress room is. Maybe she means dressing room. Could be. But then again, I also don't really know how the bedroom has a bathtub in the bedroom. Who knows? Just something else. If you want to endear yourself to the examiner, talking about how fancy your apartment or your house is maybe not the best way to do that.
Which room do you love most in your flat?
I love my balcony most. The biggest feature is that there are some oversized armchairs and an umbrella-shaded table out there. It is exactly what I love about it. When it comes to a sunny afternoon, I love to take a seat outside, soaking up the sun, enjoy the fantastic view, listening to the music while sipping a cup of tea, and have some finger snacks. It is super nice.
Okay, so here towards the end, when she talks about the sunny afternoon, she starts off with an infinitive, I love to take. But then the next phrase has a gerund, soaking. Then she goes back to the infinitive, and then there's another gerund. So if it's I love to do A, B, C, they should all be infinitives. I love to take a seat, soak, enjoy, listen. And then here we have the music. We don't need the. She's not talking about any specific music. And at the end, this is not a grammar issue. This is a lexical issue. But she says finger snacks. I think what she wants to say is finger food, not finger snacks.
What are the things hung on the walls in your flat?
There are some enlarged photos of my families and me in the living room, and some huge posters of my idol, Judy Law and Lindsay Hohan, in my bedroom. Besides, quite a few delicate paintings in the dining room. All of them are super nice decorations and give an intimate flavor to my place.
Okay, so here we have families. Again, remember every person only has one family. And then this woman loves to use the word besides. It's kind of a hit and a miss with her. Sometimes it works for her, sometimes it doesn't. When we say besides, we want to say what we mean is in addition to A, we also have B. So here, there's no B. I know what she wants to say. She wants to say besides the posters, she also has quite a few delicate paintings. I'm not exactly sure what delicate paintings are, but never mind. But what's missing here is the B. Remember, besides A, I also have B, but she doesn't mention the posters. So what she should have said is, besides the posters, I also have a few delicate paintings in my dining room. Or besides these, I also have quite a few delicate paintings.
Are you planning to buy a new house now?
I have always dreamed of having a house of my own. Unfortunately, this dream is drifting away because of the ever-soaring house prices in China. Let me put it this way. There is no way I am going to be able to afford a house.
Now, I don't say much about her pronunciation. Well, mainly because she's reading, so there isn't much to say. And I definitely don't say anything about the fluency because she's reading. So what can I say about her fluency? She's reading from a piece of paper. But even though she's reading, here she did something very good when she said, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford a house. She didn't actually say going to. She said gonna, which is an example of connected speech. Now, some people might think that using connected speech or making these words kind of flow into each other is a bad thing, but it's not. It'll actually help your pronunciation score. If you do this correctly, if you use connected speech, it will definitely help you. So words like gonna is a good thing to be using.
What do you think the houses would be like in the future?
I think they would be intelligent, multifunctional, and human-based, preferably with huge French doors, a fantastic sea view, and a beautiful garden.
This response is so short, and the problems begin in the question. What do you think the houses would be like in the future? So why the? We're talking about all houses. So again, we don't need the article the there. Now, in the IELTS test, sometimes you are asked to predict what's going to happen in the future, and usually these are pretty far off predictions. But when we're predicting what's going to happen in the future, we use the word will, not would. So what do you think houses will be like in the future, not would? Now, sometimes we do use be going to talk about future predictions, like when we can see the beginning of the process. Like, for example, it's really overcast, we've got dark clouds in the sky, it looks like it's going to rain. Then you say it is going to rain because you can see the beginning of the process in the sky. But here, for far off predictions, we should be using will, not would. And she does the same thing. She says, I think they would be. So it should be, I think they will be. But then the next line, she's saying that in the future, all houses are going to have huge front doors with a fantastic sea view. How is that even possible? Everybody's going to live on the beachfront.
Who does the housework in your family?
My mum does, mainly because my father always plays the work card, and I always play the study card. It leaves pretty much all the housework to my mum. Thanks to her, my flat is always spotlessly clean. She definitely deserves the honor of Housewife of the Year.
What do you think of hiring a housekeeper to do all the housework?
It is a good thing. Nowadays, most of the people are pretty busy with their work and have no time or energy to do the housework.
Let me just say something about her response in the previous question about playing the study card and playing the work card. Those are some great expressions. To play that card means to have an excuse not to do something. That's pretty good. But now in this question, here we have most of the people. So I mentioned this before, it should be most people. We're talking about people in general.
After a whole day's work, the only thing in their minds is to drag themselves home, grab something to eat, and get some sleep.
Here we have the wrong preposition. It's the only thing on their minds, not in their minds.
So hiring a housekeeper can absolutely relieve the people of the tiring household chores. On the other hand, housekeepers, as an occupation, can alleviate the huge employment pressure. It is a win-win situation.
Okay, so here we have the people, the tiring household chores. We don't need the, I mentioned this already. Now, this is a phrase that people love to use in the test. On the other hand is used to contrast, is used to show contrast. But she's talking about something good, relieving stress and alleviating the unemployment pressure. So if you have two good things that you are comparing, then you don't use on the other hand. Then you say additionally or also. Now here, housekeepers as an occupation. Housekeepers are people. People are not occupations. So housekeeping as an occupation. And then the employment pressure should surely be unemployment pressure.